Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Peak Podcast, where we bring on coaches, thought leaders, and executives to go through some of those aha moments that they've had in life, what they've built, and where they are today, and how they got there. You guys know the format of the podcast. It's very loose. You guys are a fly on the wall, and you listen to a conversation, a recorded call that we have with our guests. As you guys know, we are the founders of Peak Fulfillment Coaching, where we send people on self-guided solo retreats to find that clarity that they've been looking for. So as we come into 2025, we see a ton of people going on solo retreats. If you guys are interested, please reach out to us at peakfulfillment.co, or you can shoot me an email. All righty, guys, without further ado, we've got Kristy Mandour today. She's the founder of Sow ToSpeak, and really looking forward to bringing her on. One of the things that attracted us was some of these questions that she had on her website, and we'll put the show notes, or put her website in the show notes once we're done here. So go ahead and take a look at that. But without further ado, I want to bring her on. So Kristy, welcome to the Peak Podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, so happy to be here. This is awesome.
Kristy, where are you located again?
I'm in upstate New York, New Hartford, New York.
New York, right on. Very cool. And it's what, 7 o'clock there? 4 o'clock? 6 o'clock.
Felt like we were at an auction for a minute. Yeah, 6:17.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you for being here again. We're coming into the holidays. We've got the holidays right around the corner. We typically do an icebreaker. So today's icebreaker, I just want to, what is your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, my kids just asked me that. I'm that lame person that's like, I can't pick just one. So I'll pick this year. My favorite Christmas movie is Noel with Anna Kendrick and Bill Hader.
Right on. Very cool. Well, that's good. When you said I'm going to be that person, I thought you were going to say, like, I don't like Christmas movies. Then it would have been a way different call.
I don't want to meet that person that doesn't like Christmas movies.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you for being here. Let's kick the audience off with a little bit more about Sow ToSpeak. What is it? And then we'll talk about like how you got into that and how it came about. So what is Sow ToSpeak?
Sure. Yeah. So Sow ToSpeak, SOW, I'm a lover of play on words, is a boutique consulting and coaching company that I created. And we can get into the story of it for sure. That's focused on public speaking and communication with high achieving leaders who tend to be really like all heart, all drive, and at the same time, they're kind of in the societal expectation of we have to choose one or the other. It either has to be authority or heart. So I try to work with them to figure out how they can merge them together and realize like you can be a compassionate leader and still command authority and respect, and you can also have authority and have heart. It's like you don't have to have one over the other.
What do you think makes a good leader? Like if you were to put and maybe you have this person in your head or in your life.
Yeah.
What do you think makes a good leader? Just start there.
I feel like, integrity is the first thing that comes to mind. And I feel like with integrity, it's tricky for a lot of people because you have to make decisions oftentimes on the fly. And if you don't know yourself, if you don't know what you care about, if you haven't done a bit of a deep dive into understanding yourself, you may not really have genuine integrity. Like there's sometimes integrity, it's faux integrity. It's like guilt integrity. Yep. Very, ethical, moral. There's something wonderful about that, but it can sometimes go off the rails. So I think really good leaders are ones who really know themselves and they are willing to be open to understand other people.
Mm-hmm. That's very good. Yeah, we in our program, I mean, it's very similar. Our whole goal of our program is deep inner work to know who you are and why you are the way you are. Mm-hmm. I think integrity spawns off of that as it becomes a binary decision, right? It's a yes or no based on your core values and your purpose, ultimately your integrity. And I think a lot of leaders today's day and age hopefully understand that a little bit more. And hopefully they've been exposed to a very good leader and a very bad leader. I've had that in my past, and I think that's really helped shape the way that I lead in our companies. but again, hopefully people get that perspective. I think it's really good to see and hear and understand what a bad leader sounds like.
Wait, I love you bringing that into the mix.
Yeah. It's bad leaders to me do not know how to put themselves in other people's shoes. And I think that is like just lack of empathy has what I've seen really making up a really bad leader.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I'm just curious too, if you have these leaders approach you, right? They're trying to become better speakers. I would assume public facing speakers, but also within their teams and their communities, right?
Yeah, it's a combination. And when I say public speaking, I do the classic keynote for sure,
Sure.
without a doubt. It's also more, public speaking is also running a meeting, presenting to the board, pitching an idea in senior leadership, like all of that.
Exactly. Well, what got you into this? Have you done a lot of speaking yourself? What was the spark to get this thing rolling?
Yeah, so I have done a bunch of speaking. I also, I had a background in performing arts, and writing was the main thing. Like after I went to college at Ithaca College for communications, and then I went to New York City for a while and did the whole acting thing. And I loved it. I still love the creative arts. I still am a writer lifelong. I just was like, there has to be a way to incorporate this into the commonplace, like the workplace, because the skills were so transferable when it comes to performing. I mean, it's all about communication. Like the number one thing you'll hear people say, especially with kids, is get your kid into an acting class so that they can strengthen their social skills.
Oh, 100%. 100%. That is really cool.
Yeah. So that was like the first, I just had this light bulb. I was like, oh, it's more than this. Like it's more than just this, which I love the performing side. I love the entertainment side, but I was like, what can it look like? So long stories, I ended up going back to school years later for graduate school in Boston for theater education, because I wanted to merge, right? I wanted to figure out how can I bring this into organizations in some way. I just didn't know how yet. And then I ended up working for a nonprofit organization that helped women transition into the workforce. And it was a spectrum of women, those who were recently released from jail, those who had been out of work because they just were home raising a family, those who've gone through a divorce, widowed, separated, and brought them all in, and they got the hard skills, all the computer skills. But what really got them shining was the public speaking and the acting exercises that I would tweak to help them with job interviewing or presenting themselves in some way. And one of them, and they just totally transformed. Like it was amazing. And they connected with each other, and they were vulnerable, and they were able to understand themselves better, and they felt so seen. And then there would be a few times, one of them came back from a job interview and was like, I was more prepared than the interviewer. And then that's when it clicked. That's when I was like, okay, I have to bring this stuff into the decision maker so that it trickles down to the rest of the organization. And that isn't the whole story, but that's like the really strong spark of it.
What is an example of an acting exercise? You just said that there was you kind of put them through acting exercises.
Yeah. So
those might be.
There's so many. I would say, do you have like a specific thing, like a specific social something?
No, I just super curious on how you define that, and maybe like an exercise that you take a client through.
Okay. So an acting exercise that I love that comes from Seth Barish.
Okay.
And he, I believe, is still an acting instructor in New York. He's fantastic. He started the Barrow Group, and I want to say it's called something super simple, like the conversation exercise.
Okay.
And all you do is, specifically if someone's like about to present themselves in some way, we have a tendency to upspeak, and we have a tendency to speak not with our diaphragm, but like all chest and throat. Right. So we're more constricted, we're tighter. But when we're in a conversation, like I love you setting up this format, like everybody's fly on the wall and we're just chilling out. Totally. It does drop any sort of image that you feel you have to present. So the conversation exercise is this simple. I would tell them, okay, go ahead and practice whatever they were doing, presenting, job interviewing. And then I would say, I'm going to tell you to switch. And when I say switch, I want you're just back. I want to just talk to you about what you did yesterday or what you did over the weekend. And when I would say switch, you would feel their whole energy drop, and they would speak from a deeper place that was so much more connected to themselves. And then I would say switch again, and then they would go back to presenting, and I would say switch again. And the point was to keep saying switch until it was aligned. And they felt the difference. They could feel it. Because yes, of course, when you're presenting, you do have to have a different level of energy, but it does not need to be Tony Robbins. It doesn't need to be game show host. It doesn't need to be that level. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions of people who really want to public speak or present themselves and feel like I'm not going to be as engaging because I'm introverted, or I don't speak as strongly in front of people. And it's just not true.
Wow, that is really cool.
Yeah.
People get really like uptight when they feel like they're about to come on stage or whatever that stage is for them.
Yeah.
And then they start fumbling their words. They don't. I mean, I think what wraps this up, and this was going to go into my next question, but I think this is perfect. I feel like a lot of what you do is building self-confidence. A lot of the questions that you have on your site relate back to lacking self-confidence. And as a speaker, you have to do a multitude of things, whatever that is for you, to create that self-confidence so that you come up there as the thought leader.
Mm-hmm.
You can control the room. We have somebody on our show coming up who is a dress coach, like meaning they work with you to literally with your attire. They help you pick things. And the whole goal of that is for self-confidence so that they can speak.
Yeah.
That's what they do, is they help you create this image that when you put this outfit on, it's like Superman. Like that Kristy's coming to the stage, like she's in her outfit, like she's about to dominate. But you know that, and you have this incredible self-confidence. And when she's on the show too, it's like she is dialed, dressed up, like ready to roll, and it's really, really cool. But self-confidence, I think, is everything for speaking. And whether that self-confidence acting exercise that you just talked about, that's the stuff that I like to do. I'm very much like very relaxed when we go on stage. Sometimes like it's almost like as casual and relaxed as, hey, we're just going to sit down on the stage. We're just going to have like a dialogue. We're just and then it drops the guard for everybody. And how everybody just open the Komodo and let's talk. Like this is such a vulnerable, safe space. Like I'm not this crazy person. I put my pants on the same way you do. Like, let's just talk. So I love what you said with that acting exercise. It's so cool.
Well, I want to pause you because you said something that is so poignant, and it's something that, you know, we often, people who have not been speaking don't think of it like this. People who have think they hear this all the time, that it's a dialogue, not a monologue. And it's always a dialogue. So even if you think of your favorite actor and they're giving a monologue, they're still giving it to somebody. They're not just talking, right? So when you're up there, and that's what makes great actors great, is that they're present. So I'm going to go back, and I get what you're saying about the self-confidence piece. I will also say that I feel like the majority of clients that I work with, they've lost some of their self-confidence. They're not depleted of it. And it's more about self-doubt. It's more that they're stepping into a role that is a more senior level. They're recently promoted. It's not the same skill set. We all know that. Like when you start leading people, it's not the same skill set that got you the job. So now they're like, wait a second, this is all about relationships. This is all about motivating. This is not what I was doing before. So it's this kind of uncertainty. So I always say we're going to lean you and transform your voice into a confident, self-assured leader from a self-doubtful leader. And when you think about going back to the actor piece, the best actors are the ones who are present, like they're just with you. They're with the other person. And that is what I feel like often goes overlooked when it comes to speaking, is that the connection with yourself and getting really comfortable and feeling safe in your body, which is a whole other conversation, is where we start. That's where I start with every single client, because so much of us, we live in our head and we don't realize what it feels like to be present, because when we're present, we're literally like open for any threat it's so much better to be like, I'm on top of this. I got the threat thing down. So being present, you have to be completely
I love that.
comfortable and feeling safe, right?
Mm.
So I feel like that's one of the number one things that gets overlooked when it comes to speaking and presenting and being looked at and all that stuff.
Totally. I think imposter syndrome is something that a lot of people struggle with. And that me kind of like puts in a nutshell what you just said. Is they don't feel worthy, or they don't feel like they should be in that stage, whatever that stage might be, that promotion physically on stage, whatever that is. Imposter syndrome is a really hard one to tackle. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. Do you agree?
I do. And I have something to add on to that is I often feel too with women, especially, that we almost have a tendency to look at imposter syndrome as, who am I not to have imposter syndrome? If I don't have imposter syndrome, I'm going to look like an asshole. I'm going to look, people are going to hate me. They're going to think I'm horrible. And I'm going to just look like I think who I am. Yep. So I need to kind of have that imposter syndrome to be like a little.
Got it.
It's almost like rejecting yourself before someone else can reject you.
Sure. Gosh, that's so good. Wow. That is really cool, Kristy. Well, as we wrap up, we're coming up to time here. What is one thing that you want to leave the audience with, whether that is a tactical thing they can work on, a piece of inspiration, something that they should look at? What would you want to leave them with here today?
The number one thing I would say is that it's connection over perfection with yourself first, so that you can then have that with somebody else. And the best way to do that is to start just noticing what's going on in your head, so that you can start choosing which way you want to go with what your thoughts are.
It's amazing.
Connection over perfection.
Connection over perfection. Phenomenal. If people wanted to reach out to you, find you, get in touch with Sow ToSpeak, where would they go?
They can go right to the website. I think you said you're going to put it in the show notes, but it's www.sowtospeak.com. That's SOWTOSPEAK.com. And also LinkedIn, Instagram, Kristy Mandour. It's just my name.
That is amazing. Kristy, thank you so much. What a cool combo. I know we could go for hours, and it was awesome. So thanks for bringing the energy, and we will see you next time.
Thank you so much.
All righty. See you later. Wow. What an awesome show. Amazing advice. Connection with yourself, I think, was one of the biggest takeaways that I had, and hopefully something that you guys took away as well. So again, thank you guys for being here at the Peak Podcast. For more episodes, make sure to like and subscribe to hear more great guests just like Kristy. And until then, we will see you guys on the next episode. See ya.